Welcome, YouTubers, to another episode in my Grammar Hero series. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing how to evaluate algebraic expressions, which is a topic that almost certainly will appear in the mathematics knowledge subtest of the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery, that is the ASVAB, as well as the PICAT. Let me stress this, as I always do. In order to get anything out of these videos, you have to work out the practice problems on your own. That is to say, after I read a practice question, you should pause the video, attempt to work it out on your own, and then resume playing the video to check your solution. In total, there are going to be 20 practice problems in this video, so that means you should pause this video 20 times. Before we get started, let me stress this as well. In order to evaluate algebraic expressions, you have to know the order of operations. If you don't know what the order of operations refers to, please watch my video on the order of operations. I'll put a link to that video in the description of this video. Again, it basically tells you the order in which you simplify algebraic expressions. That is to say, you do parentheses first, exponents next, multiplication and division after that, and then finally addition and subtraction. I'll do my best to explain the order of operations as I work out these problems. But again, for more practice involving the order of operations, check out that video. Apart from that, I'll say this. There are 3 objectives in today's video. The first objective, as you can see, is to define some terms, notably the terms constants, variables, and expressions. After that, we're going to work on evaluating algebraic expressions that only have one variable. And then finally, we're going to work on evaluating algebraic expressions that have 2 variables. You may be wondering why objective 3 is highlighted here. Let me stress this. Of all the questions in today's video, the questions from objective 3 are the most likely to appear in the math knowledge subtest of the ASVAB. So if you feel as if you're good with evaluating algebraic expressions already, you can go ahead and jump to objective 3, work out those practice problems, and if you get them all right, you should be good to go on test day. Otherwise, I strongly encourage you to watch this video from start to finish. So all that being said, let's go ahead and get started with today's video. All right, so let's get started by talking about our first objective. As you can see, our first objective is to learn the definitions of constants, variables, and expressions. And as we can see, a constant is a fixed number. That is to say, it's a number that's not going to change. So for example, some constants are 2, 0.9, 5/7, and pi. A variable, on the other hand, is a letter or symbol that represents an unknown number. So some variables, for example, are x, y, a, and theta. And finally, an algebraic expression is a combination of constants, variables, and grouping symbols formed by addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and exponent rules. So some examples of algebraic expressions are x minus 5, 2 times a times b, 1 divided by t plus 9, 7m squared n to the third, and 3 times s minus 6. So before we move on to the second objective in today's video, let's make sure we can define these things. And if we look at our first example here, it says name whether each is a constant, variable, or expression. So the letter Z is a variable. Again, it's a letter that represents an unknown value. And again, if you want, you can pause the video at this point. 3x squared plus 4y is an expression. Again, it's a combination of constants, variables, as well as operations. And then finally, the number 6.5 is a constant. Again, that 6.5 is not going to change. All right, just 3 more examples here. Again, if you want to pause the video, that's a good idea. Make sure you can define what each of these is, because going forward, I'm going to use all those terms pretty quickly. So 5x to the third minus 2x squared plus 9. Well, that's an expression. Again, an expression is a combination of constants, variables, and operations. T is a variable. That T represents an unknown value. And finally, 12 is a constant. All right, so that's it for Objective 1. Admittedly, Objective 1 is pretty straightforward. But that said, let's go ahead and move on to Objective 2 here. All right, so now that we know those definitions, let's go ahead and work on Objective 2 here. As you can see, that's in regard to evaluating algebraic expressions that have one variable. And there are two steps to doing that. The first one is substitute the given number for the variable in an expression. And after that, you find the value of the expression using the order of operations. Again, the order of operations are best remembered by the acronym PEMDAS. And PEMDAS stands for parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. The order of operations tell you the order in which you simplify algebraic expressions. That is to say, you do what's in parentheses first, you do exponents next if there are any, then you do multiplication and division as they appear in the expression from left to right, and finally you do addition and subtraction as they appear from left to right. All right, so with all that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at a few examples here. This first example says if x equals 3, evaluate 7x. So our expression is 7x, and we're told that x equals 3. Well, to start, we're going to take this 3 and substitute it in for our variable x. So this becomes 7 times 3. Now, you really don't need the order of operations here because there's only one operation occurring. That is, we have 7 times 3. 7 times 3 is 21. All right, so the answer to A is 21. Let's go ahead and take a look at B now. B says if x equals -2, evaluate the expression 2x squared. So our expression is 2x squared, and we know x is equal to -2. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is take this -2 and plug it in for x. So this becomes 2 times -2 squared. And now we can actually use the order of operations. Again, the order of operations are remembered by PEMDAS. Again, we do parentheses first, exponents next, multiplication and division from left to right, and addition and subtraction from left to right. If we look at our expression here, we can see that we have exponents and multiplication. So we're going to do exponents first, and then we'll take care of that multiplication next. All right, so in case this isn't obvious, -2 squared is the same as -2 times -2. -2 times -2 is +4. All right, so this is 2 times 4. We just took care of our exponents. Now the only operation we have left is multiplication. 2 times 4 is 8. So the answer to B is 8. All right, so let's move on to some more examples here, and they are going to get more difficult as we work out more of these. All right, so we're going to work on 8 more examples. At this point in the video, I strongly encourage you to pause the video and work out these 8 remaining practice problems in this objective on your own. So that said, I'm going to keep working these out. For these next 2 examples, it says evaluate the expression for x equals 2. For A here, you can see we have the expression 9x. And again, we're letting x equal 2. So the first thing we're going to do is plug in 2 for x. So this becomes 9 times 2. 9 times 2 is 18. All right, let's move on to the next one. Again, we're letting x equals 2. And our expression is 4x to the third. First thing we want to do is substitute 2 in for x. So this becomes 4 2 to the third. And here it might be helpful to use our order of operations to simplify this. Again, those are PEMDAS. We're going to work out parentheses first if there are any, exponents next, multiplication and division as they appear from left to right, and addition and subtraction as they appear from left to right. In this case, we do have an exponent, and then we have multiplication. So we have 2 to the third times 4. According to the order of operations, we're going to deal with that exponent first. Then after that, we'll take care of that multiplication. All right, so I'm going to work this 2 to the third off to the side. 2 to the third is the same as 2 times 2 times 2. Well, what is this? 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. So 2 to the third is 8. Let's go ahead and take care of that. This becomes 4 times 8. What's 4 times 8? That's 32. All right, so B is 32. All right, for these next two problems, it says evaluate the expression for a being -3. And our first expression here is 2a minus 1. And again, we're letting a equal -3. So first, we're going to plug in -3 for a. So this becomes 2, -3 minus 1. And again, if it's helpful, you can refer to your order of operations. Again, that's PEMDAS. And what do we have as far as operations in this expression goes? We have multiplication, 2 times -3, and then subtraction, -1. Again, according to the order of operations, we're going to take care of multiplication first, and then we'll take care of that subtraction next. So 2 times -3 is going to be -6. Again, a positive times a negative is a negative. -6 minus 1 is what we're left with. That's subtraction. -6 minus 1 is -7. All right, so the answer to that one is -7. Let's go ahead and take a look at this next one. Again, we're substituting -3 in for a, and our expression in this case is -a squared plus 4a plus 20. So the first thing we want to do is take this -3 and substitute it into the expression wherever we see a. So this becomes -3 squared plus 4 times -3 plus 20. All right, so since there's a lot of operations occurring here, it's a good idea to write down our order of operations. Again, that's PEMDAS. And again, those refer to parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. Of course, we do multiplication and division as they appear in the expression from left to right. And finally, we do addition and subtraction as they appear in the expression from left to right. So as I look through this expression, I don't see anything in parentheses to work out, so there's nothing to do there. That said, I do see exponents. I see -3 squared. So we got to take care of that next. And I'm going to do that off to the side. We have -3 squared, which is the same as -3 times -3. A negative times a negative is a positive. So -3 times -3 is positive 9. But that said, we have this negative hanging out in front of this. So this becomes -9 plus 4 times -3 plus 20. All right, let's take a look and see what else we have left in terms of operations here. We have plus, we have 4 times -3, so multiplication, and then plus 20. Of course, we do multiplication and division before addition and subtraction. So we're going to take care of that multiplication next. So let's go ahead and do that. This becomes -9. Positive 4 times -3 is -12 plus 20. So we took care of our multiplication there. There's no division, so we can cross that out. And then finally, we just have subtraction right here and addition right here left to do. And again, you work out addition and subtraction in the expression as they appear from left to right. That is to say, addition and subtraction are equal. You work them out as they appear from left to right. So we're going to work out this subtraction first, and then we'll take care of this addition after that. So this is -9 minus 12. Well, that's the same thing as 12 plus 9, but our result's going to be negative. All right, so 2 plus 9 is 11, carry a 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So this is -21 plus 20. And that's just one operation left, notably addition. Negative 21 plus 20 is negative 1. All right, so we just evaluated that expression. And as you can see, these problems are getting slightly more difficult. So let's go ahead and work out some more practice problems now. Again, please pause the video and work out these questions on your own. That's the only way you're going to get a lot out of these videos. You can watch me solve these problems all you want, but ultimately you have to work out these on your own. All right, so number 1 here says evaluate the expression given the variable value. So we know x is going to be 11, and our expression is negative 9x plus 5. So first we're going to plug in 11 for x. This becomes negative 9 times 11 plus 5. And I'm not going to write out the order of operations at this point. We only have 2 operations here. We have multiplication and addition. Multiplication is always going to come before addition. So let's work this out. Negative 9 times 11 is negative 99 plus 5. All right. 99 plus 5, or negative 99 plus 5 is negative 94. All right, so that's that one. All right, let's take a look at number 2 here. We have negative 5 y to the third, and according to the problem, y is going to be negative 2. So to start, we're going to substitute in negative 2 for y, so this becomes negative 5, negative 2 to the third. Again, I would write out the order of operations, but we only have 2 operations here. We have an exponent and we have multiplication. We have negative 5 times negative 2, and then we have negative 2 to the third power. If you remember, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, you do exponents before multiplication. So let's go ahead and work out this negative 2 to the third. Okay, we have negative 2 to the third, which is the same as negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. Let's work this out carefully. We have negative 2 times negative 2. Well, negative 2 times negative 2 is going to be positive 4, given that a negative times a negative is a positive. Then we have positive 4 times negative 2. A positive times a negative is a negative. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. All right, so this becomes negative 5 times negative 8. Again, there's only one operation left, notably multiplication. A negative times a negative is a positive. Negative 5 times negative 8 is positive 40. All right, so that's that one. Again, I have a video on how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide positives and negatives. So if that's something with which you struggle, please check out that video. All right, let's take a look at example 3 here. We're evaluating the expression negative x squared plus 7x plus 30 when x is negative 3. So first, we're going to go ahead and substitute negative 3 wherever we see x in this expression. So this becomes negative 3 squared plus 7 times negative 3 plus 30. All right. And again, since this one has a lot of operations going on at once, it might be helpful to write out your order of operations. Again, those are PEMDAS. We're going to work out what's in parentheses first, if there is anything in parentheses. Exponents next, multiplication and division as they appear in the expression from left to right. And then finally, addition and subtraction as they appear in the expression from left to right. Well, if we look through our expression here, we can see we have an exponent here, addition here, multiplication here, and addition here. So we're going to work out our exponent first. That is to say, we're going to take care of this negative 3 squared, which is the same as negative 3 times negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 3 is going to be positive 9. Again, a negative times a negative is a positive. So that said, we have this negative hanging out here. So this is negative 9 plus 7 times negative 3 plus 30. All right, so what do we have left? We just took care of our exponents. We have multiplication here, 7 times -3, and then addition and addition. So we're going to go ahead and take care of that multiplication now. Again, this is -9. Positive times a negative is a negative. So positive 7 times -3 is -21. And then we just have plus 30 here. So we took care of our multiplication there. There's no division to work out. Now we just have subtraction and addition. And again, we work out addition and subtraction as they appear in our expression from left to right. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of this -9 minus 21, and then we'll take care of this at a plus 30 here. All right, so -9 minus 21. That's the same as 21 plus 9, albeit with a negative result. 9 plus 1 is 10, carry a 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. So -9 minus 21 is -30 plus 30. -30 plus 30 is 0. All right, so the answer to this one is 0. And let's go ahead and look at number 4 here. We want to evaluate this expression when s is equal to 4. So we have the expression 44 minus 5s all over 3s. And again, s is going to be 4. So the first thing we want to do is substitute 4 in for s in our expression. This becomes 44 minus 5 times 4 all over 3 times 4. All right. If it's helpful, we can write out the order of operations. And there are no parentheses to work out. There are no exponents. We have subtraction, multiplication, and multiplication. Again, I'm going to treat this fraction as a fraction, so I'm not going to read that as division, okay? So let's work out our multiplication first. This becomes 44 minus, what is 5 times 4? That's 20 over 3 times 4. That's going to be 12. All right, so we took care of our multiplication. Technically, there's no division, okay? Because we're dealing with a fraction here. At most, we're going to reduce this fraction. All right, so no division. As you can see, the only thing we have left is subtraction, notably 44 minus 20. So let's go ahead and take care of that. 4 minus 0 is 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. So this is 24 over 12. And now we're actually going to reduce this fraction by dividing the numerator and denominator by a common factor of 12. 24 divided by 12 is 2. 12 divided by 12 is 1. 2 over 1 is just 2. All right, so the answer to this one is 2. All right, so that's that. So now that we've evaluated some algebraic expressions that had one variable, let's go ahead and take a look at the third and final objective in today's video. That is, let's work on evaluating algebraic expressions that have two variables. As you can see, the steps are the same. First, we're going to substitute the numbers in for the variables in the expression, and then we're going to find the value of the expression by reducing it using the order of operations. So let's take a look at example A here. As you can see, we're evaluating the expression for x equals 5 and y equals -1. Our first expression here is 3x plus 6y. Again, x is going to be 5 and y is going to be -1. So let's go ahead and substitute those in. This becomes 3 times 5 plus 6 times -1. Again, y is -1, x is 5. And in this case, there are only 3 operations occurring. We have 3 times 5, that's multiplication. We have addition, and then we have 6 times -1. Again, that's multiplication. So we have multiplication, multiplication, and addition. So we're going to work out our multiplication first, and then our addition last. 3 times 5 is 15. Um, 6 times negative 1. A positive times a negative is a negative. So this becomes negative 6. All right. Now we just have one operation left, notably subtraction. We should know that 15 minus 6 is 9. All right, so that's that one. Let's go ahead and move on to B here. Again, we're evaluating the expressions when x is 5 and y is negative 1. And our expression in this case is 4x squared minus 7y squared. First thing we're going to do is substitute 5 in for x and negative 1 in for y. So this becomes 4 times 5 squared minus 7 times negative 1 squared. All right, so since there's a lot going on in this expression, you may want to write out your order of operations. Again, those are remembered by the acronym PEMDAS. So we're going to work out what's in parentheses first, if there is anything in parentheses, exponents next, multiplication and division from left to right, and then finally addition and subtraction from left to right. If we look through our expression here, we can see that we have exponents, multiplication, and subtraction. So we're going to take care of our exponents first. And in this case, we have two exponents. We have 5 squared, and then we have negative 1 squared. So let's work those out. 5 squared is the same as 5 times 5, which is 25. And negative 1 squared is the same thing as negative 1 times negative 1. Negative times a negative is a positive. Negative 1 times negative 1 is just positive 1. All right, so let's substitute those in now. We have 4 times 25 minus 7 times 1. All right, so now we just have multiplication and subtraction left. We have 4 times 25 minus 7 times 1. So we're going to do multiplication before that subtraction. 4 times 25 is 100. 7 times 1 is just 7. And now we just have subtraction left, so let's go ahead and take care of that. 100 minus 7 is going to be 93. All right, so that's that one. Let's take a look at C here. Again, we're letting x be positive 5 and y be negative 1. And we're substituting those values into this expression, 2x plus y over 3y. All right, so let's go ahead and start by plugging in x and y accordingly. This becomes 2 times 5 plus negative 1 over 3 times negative 1. All right, so there's a lot going on in this expression, so it might be helpful to write out your order of operations. And again, we work out parentheses first, exponents next, multiplication and division as they appear in the expression from left to right, and addition and subtraction as they appear from left to right. Well, what do we have here? We have a fraction, then we have multiplication, 2 times 5, addition, and then 3 times 1, multiplication. So there are no parentheses, there are no exponents. We're going to start by taking care of our multiplication. So let's go ahead and do that. Let me move back up a little bit here. 2 times 5 is 10. And this plus negative 1 is the same thing as minus 1. So we'll just rewrite that. 3 times negative 1, that's positive 3 times negative 1. A positive times a negative is a negative. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. All right. Let's go ahead and try to reduce this fraction. Again, we're not going to treat this fraction as division. I know if you watch some of my videos, I say fractions are considered division. Not in this case. We're going to reduce our fractions. Okay, so we took care of our multiplication. There's no division. Now we just have subtraction and a fraction to deal with. So let's go ahead and do that. 10 minus 1 is 9. So this is 9 over negative 3. Let's go ahead and reduce this fraction. we can divide the numerator 9 and the denominator -3 by a common factor of 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3. -3 divided by +3 is -1. And this says 3 over -1. Anything over 1 is just itself. Anything over -1 is going to be negative itself. So 3 over -1 is -3. All right, so that's that one. All right, so there are 7 practice problems left in this section. So if you haven't done so already, you really should start pausing the video and attempting to work out these questions on your own. That said, I'm going to move on here. These next two say evaluate the expression for x equals -2 and y equals 4. So our expression is 8x plus 4y, and we're told to let x equal -2 and y equal 4. So first we're going to plug in -2 for x and 4 for y respectively. That's going to look like this. It's going to become 8 times -2 plus 4 times 4. Again, there's only a few operations going on here. We have multiplication, notably 8 times -2. We have addition, and then we have multiplication, notably 4 times 4. So of course, according to the order of operations, we do multiplication before addition. So let's go ahead and take care of that. This is 8 times -2. That's going to be -16. Plus 4 times 4 is 16. Let's go ahead and work this out. -16 plus 16 is 0. All right, so that's that one. Again, we're going to let x be -2 and y be 4. And our next expression is -5x squared plus 3y squared. First, we're going to plug in -2 for x and 4 for y respectively. So this is going to become -5 times -2 squared plus 3 times 4 squared. And since there are quite a few operations to work through in this one, you may want to write out your order of operations. Again, that's PEMDAS. Again, we're going to look for parentheses first, exponents next, then we're going to work out multiplication and division as they appear in the expression from left to right, and then finally, we're going to work out addition and subtraction as they appear in our expression from left to right. If we quickly look through this, we can see that we have no parentheses to work out, but that said, we do have some exponents here to take care of. So let's take care of those. Again, we have -2 squared, and we also have 4 squared. -2 squared is the same thing as -2 times -2. -2 times -2 is going to be +4. Again, a negative times a negative is a positive. 4 squared is the same as 4 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16. So let's go ahead and replace those. We have -5 times 4 plus 3 times 16. Again, we took care of our exponents. If we look through our expression one more time, you can see that we have multiplication, -5 times 4, addition, and then multiplication, 3 times 16. So we're going to work out our multiplication first, and then we'll take care of our addition after that. All right. -5 times 4 is -20. Plus 16 times 3. If you can't do that in your head, you could always work it off to the side. 3 times 6 is 18. Carry a 1. 3 times 1 is 3 plus 1 is 4. So this is 48. We just have addition left to do now, so let's go ahead and take care of that. This is the same thing as 48 minus 20. You should be able to do that in your head, but if you can't, we'll work it off to the side. 8 minus 0 is 8. 4 minus 2 is 2. So this is 28. All right, so that's that one. And again, we're going to be substituting the same values in for c. Let me just make sure I got the right values there. X is going to be -2 and y is going to be 4. So again, X is going to be -2 and y is going to be 4. We're going to be substituting those values into this expression now. 9x plus 5y over x. So the first step is to plug in -2 for x and 4 for y respectively. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to scroll down here a little bit. This becomes 9 times -2 plus 5 times 4 all over -2. If it's helpful, you can write your order of operations here, notably PEMDAS. As you can see, there's no parentheses to work out. There are no exponents. There is multiplication, however, so we're going to take care of that. Again, we have multiplication here, 9 times -2, and here 5 times 4. So let's take care of those two things. 9 times -2 is -18, plus 5 times 4 is 20. This is all over -2. So we took care of that multiplication. Again, we're going to treat this like a fraction, so there is technically no division here. Now we just have addition left, so let's go ahead and do that. -18 plus 20 is going to be 2, and this is over -2. Let's go ahead and reduce this fraction. Again, we can divide our numerator and denominator by a common factor of 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. -2 divided by +2 is -1. 1 over -1 is -1. So the answer to this one is -1. All right, so that's that one. All right, so we have 4 more problems to do. Again, please pause the video and work out these problems on your own. We're still evaluating these algebraic expressions. And for this first one, you can see we're going to evaluate the expression -6x plus 5y minus 1 when x is -2 and y is -3. So again, x is -2, y is -3. And our expression here is -6x plus 5y minus 1. First thing to do is to substitute -2 for x and -3 for y respectively. So let's go ahead and do that. This becomes -6 times -2 plus 5 times -3 minus 1. Again, there's only a few operations going on here. We have multiplication here, addition here, multiplication here, and subtraction here. Again, you always do multiplication before addition and subtraction. So I'm not going to write out the order of operations for this one. Let's take care of our multiplication. -6 times -2. A negative times a negative is a positive. -6 times -2 is going to be +12. And let me not write that sign there yet. +5 times -3. Well, a positive times a negative is a negative, so this is -15 minus 1. All right, so the only thing we have left is subtraction. And again, we're going to work that out from left to right. So I'm going to do 12 minus 15 here. 12 minus 15 is -3. So this is -3 minus 1. -3 minus 1 is -4. All right, so that one is -4. Let's go ahead and take a look at 2 here. We want to evaluate the expression when x is 5 and y is -1. And as you can see, our expression is 4x squared minus y to the third. And again, x is 5 and y is -1. So the first thing we're going to do is substitute the values of 5 in for x and -1 in for y respectively. This becomes 4 times 5 squared minus -1 to the third. And there are quite a few operations going on in this one, so it might be helpful to write down your order of operations. That's PEMDAS. And if we look through our expression, we can see there are no parentheses. That said, we do have some exponents to take care of here, notably here and here. So let's take care of those. We have 5 squared, as well as negative 1 to the third to take care of. 5 squared is the same as 5 times 5, which is 25. Negative 1 to the third is the same as negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 1. Uh, Negative 1 times negative 1, negative times a negative is a positive, so this is positive 1. Positive 1 times negative 1, positive times a negative is a negative, so positive 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. So let's go ahead and fill those in. 5 squared was 25, so this is 4 times 25 minus negative 1 to the third was negative 1, so minus negative 1. All right, let's take care of this double negative here. Again, double negatives become plus. All right, so now we just have two operations left. We have multiplication, 4 times 25, and addition. Of course, we're going to do multiplication first. 4 times 25 is 100. This is 100 plus 1. 100 plus 1 is 101. All right, so that's that one. All right, let's take a look at this next one now. Again, we're evaluating the expression when x is negative 3 and y is 6. And we can see our expression is 7x squared plus xy minus 2y squared. And again, we're told x is negative 3 and y is 6. So the first thing we're going to do is substitute negative 3 in for x and 6 in for y respectively. This becomes 7 times negative 3 squared plus negative 3 times 6 minus 2, 6 squared. All right, so we just substituted things in accordingly. Now we're going to use the order of operations to evaluate this expression. And the order of operations are given by the acronym PEMDAS. If we look through our expression here, we can see there are no parentheses. That said, we do have exponents. We have negative 3 squared and 6 squared. So we're going to take care of our exponents right now. Again, we have negative 3 squared as well as 6 squared. Negative 3 squared is the same as negative 3 times negative 3. Negative times a negative is a positive. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. 6 squared is the same as 6 times 6. 6 times 6 is 36. So this becomes 7 times 9 plus negative 3 times 6 and minus 2 times 36. All right, so we took care of our exponents. What do we have left? We have multiplication, 7 times 9, addition, multiplication, subtraction, and multiplication. So let's go ahead and take care of our multiplication. What is 7 times 9? That's going to be 63. And what is negative 3 times positive 6? That's negative 18. And then finally, what's negative 2 times 36? Well, if you can't do that in your head, you can work it off to the side. 36 times 2. 6 times 2 is 12. Carry a 1. 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1 is 7. So this is minus 72. So we took care of our multiplication there. And as you can see, we just have subtraction left. And we're going to work out the subtraction in this expression from left to right. So I'm going to do 63 minus 18 to start. 3 can't be subtracted by 8, so we have to borrow. This becomes 5. This becomes 13. 13 minus 8, well, that's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's going to be 5. 5 minus 1 is 4. So 63 minus 18 is 45 minus 72. All right, so now we just have to do 45 minus 72. That's the same thing as doing 72 minus 45, but we know our result's going to be negative. All right, so let's work this out. 2 minus 5 we can't do, so we're going to have to borrow. This is going to become 6. This will become 12. 12 minus 5 is going to be 7. And 6 minus 4 is 2. So we can see this is negative 27. All right, so that's that one. And this is the last problem in the video, so let's go ahead and work on it. Again, we're evaluating this expression when x is 8 and y is negative 2. And as we can see, our expression is x squared minus 8y squared all over x, y. And again, we're letting x be 8 and y be negative 2. So the first thing we're going to do is plug those values in accordingly. So this becomes 8 squared minus 8, and let me put that in parentheses, minus 8 times negative 2 squared all over 8 times negative 2. All right, let's go ahead and work this out. There's a lot going on in this expression here, so it might be helpful to write down your order of operations, and that's PEMDAS. There are no parentheses to work out, but that said, we do have exponents, notably here and here. So let's take care of our exponents. Again, as far as exponents go, we have 8 squared as well as negative 2 squared. 8 squared is the same as 8 times 8, which is 64. Negative 2 squared is the same as negative 2 times negative 2. Negative times a negative is a positive, so negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. All right, so this becomes 64 minus 8 times 4 over 8 times negative 2. All right, so what do we have left? We took care of our exponents. We have subtraction, multiplication, and multiplication. So let's go ahead and take care of our multiplication, and then we'll work on our subtraction. After that, we'll go ahead and reduce this fraction. All right, so we're working on multiplication. This becomes 64 minus 8 times 4 is 32 over 8 times negative 2, which is negative 16. All right, so we took care of our multiplication. Now we just have subtraction left, so let's deal with that. We have 64 minus 32. If you can't do that in your head, you can always do it off to the side like this. 4 minus 2 is 2. 6 minus 3 is 3. So this becomes 32 over negative 16. And now we're just going to reduce this fraction. We can divide our numerator and denominator by a common factor of 16. 32 divided by 16 is 2. Negative 16 divided by 16 is negative 1. 2 over negative 1 is negative 2. All right, so that one is negative 2. All right, so that is it for this video. As I mentioned at the start of this video, you really want to be able to work out these types of problems because there's a very high chance that similar problems show up on test day. Regardless, I hope you found this content helpful. If you like the content I'm creating, please consider subscribing to my channel. But on that note, I'm going to go ahead and catch you loose. Konnichiwa.